Hey everybody, this is Ethanita from the Gamer Access, and this is the Dragon Age Inquisition review. This is not the Mass Effect 1 and Dragon Age Origins era of BioWare. This is the Mass Effect 3 and Dragon Age 2 era of BioWare. Since Dragon Age 2 console BioWare games certainly have better gameplay than their predecessors, but it became clear that their writing talent was not as strong as it used to be. So where does Dragon Age Inquisition stand? It certainly is much bigger, and in some ways it is bolder, but it is not as bold and fresh as one may think. The narrative of Inquisition sits in the very near future of the predecessors. Dragon Age 1 and Dragon Age 2 was only within 2 decades leading to the new events. Following the Kirkwall disaster and the subsequent war between the Mages and the Templars, there was a conclave of top officials for negotiations. Unfortunately, the conclave got nuked, there is now a giant hole in the sky, and there are rift portals all over Thedas spawning demons from the Fade. Your character is the sole survivor of the blast, with a strange mark on the left hand that is capable of closing rifts. With top officials dead and the perpetrator of the blast still at large, your character becomes head of the Inquisition, sending shockwaves throughout Thedas as you and your ever-growing army gather power, influence events, and save Thedas from an evil that attempts to be a god. The story is most appreciated between the beginning and ending sections. The dialogue is consistent in a safe, reliable way. Actually, the majority of the story can be explained as safe and reliable. It is not necessarily a bad thing. For example, there are no glaring plot holes and the characters are generally agreeable. That being said, there are too few great moments. Traveling through the Frostback Mountains? That is awesome. Playing the game at an extravagant party with our legions? That is awesome. There are just not enough times like that. The biggest problems with the story is the start, the end, and the forgettable characters. The beginning has a fair amount of bravado, where going from prisoner to savior in only 1 hour felt awkward. The ending is lackluster to the point where it is clear that the writing talent at BioWare has fallen quite a ways from their prime, and will stay that way. Yes, the characters are generally agreeable, but they are also easy to forget. During my playthrough, my character romanced with nobody because none of them were interesting enough. Aside from these issues, the story is steady and is acceptable. It is not that great, but there are no major problems either. There are two perspectives to the combat. The third-person view is very much Dragon Age 2, but with all the mashing taken out, which is great. Then there is the overhead tactical view, which surprisingly is not that complicated. You can tell your party members to move, disengage, use abilities at this spot or bad guy, or recklessly binge on a lot of healing potions. It is safe to say that this is the best gameplay Dragon Age has seen on the game consoles, even if it is not exceptional. If you are not a fan of the tactical stuff, you can still hit stuff on casual difficulty and solve most problems just fine. Also cool is the War Room table, where there are many little things you can send your forces out to handle, such as negotiations, construction, spying, and increasing influence across the realm. Unlocking major regions and progressing story missions is going to require power, which is treated like a currency. To get power, some is given in story quests, and others come from side quests, and this is where things get iffy. There's an overwhelming amount of side quests in this game. There is so much that trying to finish them to clear up the journal is going to take a very, very long time. The relief is that quite a lot of these missions are not that draining and get completed reasonably fast. This actually is a major factor in keeping the pacing of the game up and running at a steady pace. Yes, you probably have to travel halfway across the hinterlands to reach a progress marker when you're new to the region, but once you take the time to set up camps and fast travel points, moving around is not that bad. The problem comes with the value of the side quests. It is possible to spend over 100 hours in Dragon Age Inquisition if one spends a lot of time away from the story. When you need materials to craft armor and weapons, improving infrastructure, leveling up, and getting better gear, you need to do side missions. Outside of the grind, most of these tasks are not worth much besides experience and some power. In Mass Effect 3, little tasks you did added to the Galactical Readiness rating, which played a major part in whether your army was going to survive against the Reapers or not. In Dragon Age, some missions have decent plot lines and effect, but as far as having an impact on the grander scheme of things, it does not feel very strong. The conversation wheel, it is a quintessential part of the BioWare game, and it is better. There are unique options that pop up if your character's race or class has something special to say, which is a nice touch. Just like in Dragon Age 2, some decisions will please some people while at the same time annoying other companions. The multiplayer feels like an afterthought. It is getting from point A to point B and killing enemies in the rooms. While Dragon Age Origins covered everything in brown, and Dragon Age 2 locked you in the same city, caves, and mountain, Inquisition shows how vibrant and diverse Thedas can truly be. The Hinterlands is a mountainous forest, the Emerald Graves an even thicker and lusher forest. The weather in Crestwood and the Storm Coast will guarantee misery, and Val Rayo and the Winter Palace are incredibly lavish. And look at those views! Outside of the environments, the game is a step forward from the previous generation. All the animations, effects, and detailing is what one would expect from the current generation of games. The sound design is pretty much identical to Dragon Age 2. You have good voice actors and hefty sound effects. Not a bad thing, but aside from higher audio quality, nothing really new here. One technical issue is that the sound effects would occasionally delay for about 3 or 5 seconds. Actually, this game has numerous technical hiccups. Almost all of them did not really interfere with the gameplay, but a look through the patch notes suggested that Inquisition came out more broken than it is now. The soundtrack of Inquisition fits into the Dragon Age feel extremely well. Dragon Age soundtracks are not the first to come to mind when it comes to iconic themes, but they are really good at fitting into the world of Thedas. This is what Inquisition does, and it did it with a different composer. It is in the background a lot, doing its work in a steady manner, save for the couple soundtracks with Skyhold in their names. Dragon Age Inquisition is a good, safe, reliable, agreeable, and acceptable game. To properly appreciate it, you kinda have to accept that you are not in this for an iconic story. The gameplay is the best the consoles have seen yet from this franchise, the environments are never tiring to look at, and there are enough side quests to last a ridiculous amount of time for those who are interested. There is nothing glaringly wrong with this game, but it has been a struggle to name truly great things about this game. It feels like it somewhat fell short of living up to its potential. For what it is, Inquisition is a game that can be safely recommended to fans of the genre. The score that will be given to Dragon Age Inquisition will be an 8.0 out of 10.